Hey developers, welcome to Devcovery. Today, we're bringing you the hottest open source projects trending on GitHub, so you don't miss any tech developments worth your attention.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into a trending project on GitHub, Node, a Rust implementation from the Amadeus protocol team that's exploding in popularity, gaining nearly 1,400 stars in a single day. A surge like that on a protocol's core Node software usually signals a network hitting a major inflection point, and that's exactly the kind of momentum worth unpacking in detail. Picture a blockchain node picking up more than 1,300 new stars on GitHub in a single day. That is exactly what happened to Node, a project from Amadeus protocol. Written in Rust, it now sits at over 4,500 stars. So, what makes a piece of blockchain infrastructure attract that kind of overnight attention? This project, simply called Node, is built by Amadeus Protocol as the core client software for the Amadeus Protocol network. It handles transaction validation, runs smart contracts, and lets anyone participate in the network in a decentralized way. In just one day, it gained 4,525 stars total, with 1,397 of those added today alone, and it already has 85 forks. That kind of daily spike is rare for infrastructure software. It signals that developers are actively watching how this network evolves. Running blockchain infrastructure has always meant choosing between speed and stability. Fast languages like Rust or C++ deliver raw performance, but they demand careful engineering to avoid crashes that take down the whole network. Systems built for fault tolerance, on the other hand, often sacrifice throughput. Node operators and validators have historically had to accept one trade-off or the other, stitching together monitoring tools and restart scripts just to keep nodes alive. Amadeus Protocol's Node takes a different angle. Instead of picking a single language and living with its weaknesses, it blends two very different technical traditions into one system. The goal is to keep both the speed developers want and the resilience operators need, without asking either group to compromise. At its core, this node combines Rust with the Erlang and Beam virtual machine, the same runtime environment that powers telecom systems designed to run for years without downtime. Rust handles the performance-critical work, while the Beam side manages concurrency and automatically restarts failed processes. That means one crashing component does not take the whole node offline. Think of it like a factory floor, where one machine breaks down, but the assembly line keeps running because another station instantly takes over. Smart contracts run on WebAssembly, a portable execution format that lets code written in different languages run safely inside a sandbox. Developers can write contracts in AssemblyScript, a language that looks close to TypeScript. That choice lowers the barrier for people coming from web development rather than deep blockchain backgrounds. The consensus layer relies on a Merkle mountain range, a data structure that only ever appends new data instead of rebuilding an entire tree each time. That makes verifying blockchain history far more efficient, which is especially useful for lightweight clients that cannot store the entire chain. Validators also aggregate their cryptographic signatures into a single compact proof, cutting down the amount of data the network has to move around during consensus. In practice, this node serves three groups. Developers use the built-in local testnet to write and debug WebAssembly smart contracts before deploying anywhere near real funds. Network operators follow detailed production guides, including deep Linux kernel tuning for high-throughput networking, to run full nodes or validators, called computers and trainers in the project's own terminology. Researchers interested in distributed systems can study the Rust and Beam combination as a case study in its own right. Getting started requires building with Docker or Podman and spinning up a local testnet, a setup that is approachable for anyone comfortable with a command line. Broader discussion around Amadeus Protocol has focused less on this specific repository and more on its underlying concept, turning blockchain mining computation into useful AI training work. That idea has drawn genuine curiosity across developer forums, framed as a way to reduce wasted energy in traditional mining. Direct commentary on the node codebase itself remains limited, since the project is still early. The consensus mechanism itself is custom-built, and so far there is no public white paper explaining its security guarantees. That is a real concern for anything meant to secure actual value. The choice of Erlang and Beam, while technically sound, is also niche in the blockchain world, meaning a smaller pool of developers and less mature tooling to draw from. And by the project's own description, this is research software, not something that has passed independent security audits yet. Node is less about chasing benchmark numbers and more about betting that resilience matters just as much as raw speed. Whether that bet pays off depends on how quickly its consensus design earns outside scrutiny and how far its community grows from here.
That's all for today's Devcovery. We hope these GitHub trending projects spark some inspiration for your development work. You can find all the repos mentioned in the description below. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you tomorrow at the same time.